Hey guys, welcome back to Moyong, the cooking channel that's not so useless. In this video, we'll be cooking up a pomfret with sour pickled mustard greens. Pomfret is one of those fish that is very great to serve. Their scales are almost non-existent, they don't have tiny bones, and their flesh is very delicate when cooked. And when you pair it up with some sour pickled mustard greens, you'll just want to keep eating it again and again. And to make this dish, you'll need a pomfret, light soy sauce, cooking wine, oyster sauce, chicken powder, vegetable oil, water, Chinese brown sugar, garlic, sugar, salt, white pepper, ginger, sour pickled mustard greens, and cornstarch. And for the quantities, we used a pomfret that weighed around 650 grams, along with 1 teaspoon of salt, a few sprinkles of white pepper, and 4 to 5 slices of ginger. For the mustard greens, you'll need about 300 grams of sour pickled mustard greens, half a teaspoon of salt, 4 cloves of garlic, 20 grams of cooking wine, 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, a half teaspoon of sugar, 600 milliliters of water, a quarter teaspoon of chicken powder, 1 teaspoon of light soy sauce, 15 grams of Chinese brown sugar, and 30 grams of oyster sauce. And then to thicken the sauce, you'll need 1.5 teaspoons of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of water. To make this dish, you'll need to do 2 key things: prep the ingredients and then cook them. But before we begin, if you do enjoy this video, do consider subscribing, as it does help the channel out. So to start off, we want to give the mustard greens a quick wash. Separate the stems from the base. Unravel the leaves. And give the mustard greens a good dunk to wash. Now, depending on what brand of sour pickled mustard greens you use, the mustard greens are actually quite salty, and we highly suggest you steal a little nibble just to see how salty they are originally. And to make them more pleasant for consumption, we're going to get rid of that saltiness by submerging them in salty water. Yeah, it sounds ironic, but it actually works. So submerge them completely in water and add in about half a teaspoon of salt. Then leave it aside for about an hour, but depending on the brand, this time may vary. Now onto our pomfret. You want to make sure you give it a good wash, but more importantly, remove any guts as well as blood stuck in the indents of the spine. If you don't clean out this blood well, you may have an unpleasant fishiness in your dish. Next, pat the pomfret dry with a paper towel, both outside and inside. Then with your knife, make 3 incisions on the medial portion of the fish. And repeat on the other side. You want to make sure these incisions go to the bone, and this will help the thicker flesh soak up more flavour. Then rub in salt into the fish, making sure to rub both the exterior, within the incisions, and the interior. Now, if you're not familiar with salting a fish, when you're rubbing in salt, you want to rub from head to tail, and not the reverse. And this is simply to avoid pricking your fingers on the fin spines. Similarly, rub downwards in the incisions. Then once you're done with the salt, repeat with the white pepper, and then let it rest for about half an hour. Next, peel some ginger and cut some slices. And then with the garlic, top and tail. Then crush and remove the skin. And be sure to crush those cloves well. Back to our mustard greens. After about 1 hour, give the greens a quick dunk, and then give it one last rinse before squeezing out as much water as possible. Then make some parallel cuts in the leaf portion. Separate the leaf from the stem, remove the end bits, and then chop. And while you're at it, give the leaves one more squeeze for good measure. Finally, measure out the remaining ingredients and you're ready to cook. So at your stove, turn the heat on high, and when hot, add in your mustard greens and cook for about 5 minutes. We want to dry out the mustard greens, and a good indication of when they're almost dried out is if you start to see some browning of the greens. Then turn the heat down to a medium-low and continue cooking for about 2 minutes, or until you can really smell that mustard green aroma. Next, add in the garlic, and similarly keep cooking until browning, or you can really smell that garlic. Now if you want, you can also add in some chili at this stage, but we have to refrain from it, as a family member does have mild allergies. Once you get hit by the garlic smell, add the cooking wine down the sides of the pan. Then add in the vegetable oil, and sugar, and toss a few times. Then once again, turn the heat on high and add the water, chicken powder, light soy sauce, Chinese brown sugar, and oyster sauce. And give it one last mix. Then wait for the liquid to reach a slow boil before turning the heat off. Moving back to the pomfret, heat on high, add in the oil when hot, and then add in the ginger, then turn the heat down low and cook until golden. Once golden, move the ginger to the side, turn the heat up to a medium, and add in the pomfret. We want to develop a nice golden color on the pomfret, so cook the fish for about 1 to 2 minutes, making sure to rotate it every so often. And while you're at it, take the ginger out to prevent it from burning. Once golden, add some more oil down the sides, and carefully flip the pomfret over, and continue for another 1 to 2 minutes. Now depending on how thick the top portion of your pomfret is, you may want to adjust the angle of your pan, such that the top portion of the fish gets more heat, and this will help it cook more evenly. Once both sides are golden, turn the heat on high, and add in your mustard greens. Continuously ladle the liquid onto the fish until the liquid starts to boil. And when boiling, turn the heat down low, put the ginger back in, ladle some more liquid, and then put the lid on and cook for about 4 minutes. After 4 minutes, carefully flip the fish over, turn the heat on high, ladle some more of that great flavour onto the fish, then put the lid back on when the liquid boils. And turn the heat down low and cook for another 4 minutes. Once the second 4 minutes is up, poke the fish in the meatier portion, and if it goes straight through, it's done. Then move the fish aside, and mix together the cornstarch and water, and slowly add and mix to thicken the sauce. You don't need to put all of it in, just add in enough to thicken the sauce. Once you mix it throughout, turn the heat on high, keep ladling the sauce, and once it boils, the dish is done. So guys, that was my family's recipe for pomfret with sour pickled mustard greens. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you ever get the chance to make this at home, be sure to tell us how it goes. And if you want to see any of our future videos, be sure to subscribe. See ya.